What is up, Cabbage crew? This is Matt and John, more like John and Matt this time. And here we are reviewing Thunderbolts.
Woo!
One of the biggest movies that it's popping right now out in the theaters. We recommend that you go see it, even though we haven't told you anything about it yet. And it is one for the ride, let me tell you. Matt, what do you think about this movie?
I think, in all seriousness, May the 4th be with you. Yes. A new hope. A new hope. No, this movie gave me hope for Marvel moving forward. And it's not just because the movie was good, because there's been a couple good to great movies in the MCU in the last 3 or 4 years. But this movie had everything we loved about Marvel, specifically in the first 3 phases. It had great kind of say what you want about some of the writing. If you want to say that you're not a fan of some of the Marvel comedy, if you do like that, it has that at its peak. Some of that whippy comedy and, just fun jabs, stuff like that. It has great writing. It has heart at its core. It's less of a flashy superhero movie, and it's more of really a story about people being alone and going through depression and what to do in those situations and leaning on others. And those themes are what old Marvel movies used to do, and they would wrap those, and other franchise like Pixar would do that a lot, and just great franchises would take themes and they'd wrap it up into a kind of a bow of a fun blockbuster movie. And Marvel kind of got away from that for a little bit. And this movie had that. It also was a lot more grittier than the normal Marvel movie, and it did not rely on very, very little CGI. A lot of it was a lot of it was not special effects. So yeah, I mean, those are all the things this movie I think presented, and I came out of this movie feel like I actually was happy with the product that was given to me. You know what I mean? Was it perfect? No movie is, but I came out of the movie satisfied, and I feel like the majority of the MCU movies have not done that.
Since Endgame?
Since Endgame, really since Phase 4, and since they kind of had that direction, it seemed as though the direction after Phase 3, where they started to kind of expand the universe, and it just seemed as though a lot of the creative team got a little messy, and they just were putting out movies to put out movies, and it almost felt like they were making a movie just as a stepping stone, and every movie felt like that, where it's like, did the people that made this movie actually really love this movie and really love what they were doing? And you could tell that the people that made this movie, from the actors to the directors and editors and everybody involved, it seemed like really had fun with it and really cared about the project they were making. And maybe there is, because of that little underdog, hey, we're the Thunderbolts, we have to do the best because this isn't just a Thor movie we can make and everyone's going to go see it. I don't know the reason for it. Besides the fact that, maybe Bob Iger came back and it made Feige have a little more freedom, but it just felt like a Phase 2, Phase 3 movie to me.
Yeah.
You just watched the movie.
I literally just came back 5 minutes ago and watched it, and more like 10, but, yeah, I enjoyed it. It lived up to what people were saying about it. I agree with you with the correct definition of being very, well, you said satisfied. I'm going to say, I was not surprisingly, I was a bit more than satisfied. I'll say that. I wouldn't say very, but in between very and just satisfied, kind of. I was super impressed. Here's my theory, because I was actually thinking about this.
Yeah.
I recognize a lot of the themes and messaging and how they did it. I've seen it done a few times in other things.
Okay.
in a kind of very similar. And I just thought about this now. I was like, whenever I was in the theater, I was like, this is super familiar. Where have I seen this before? And this is going to connect. Okay.
Okay.
Stranger Things. Have you seen it?
Of course, yeah.
David Harbour is in Stranger Things.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen season 4?
Yeah. I can see that.
I would not be surprised if there was a little bit of help from David Harbour in creating the mental health aspect of the theme in this movie. 100%.
Or they just, he fits the bill, he fits that role. So when it depends on how much David Harbour has a say in a Marvel movie.
Well, no, what I'm saying, it's just my thought of he's one of the main people in Stranger Things. He's in this movie. The way that they did the themes in Thunderbolts, it's not exact, but it's very similar to season 4 of Stranger Things. And so I'm not saying that like he has the final say, because obviously the director and maybe the producers do. I'm just saying, I bet you any money he made a high suggestion on doing it this way, and that's just my guess because of like the connection that I see there, and that's where I thought about it, the whole connectivity with like people who care about you, people who will help you through the dark times, and there's this evil thing that wants to, you would take, or this the darker side wants to take over you and be the real you, but you have to get it's very very similar. And so which now that doesn't take away from what it did. I'm not saying that. I just recognized it, and I'm just curious if other people have as well.
To be honest, you're the first one that I have heard talk about that, and that's actually a good connection there. So I guess you already mentioned him. Let's talk about some of the characters,
sure.
and then we'll expand from there. I mean, I will say, when I watched Black Widow, everyone was raving about the Red Guardian, and he's a standout. I didn't get it. I was like, kind of cheesy. Not a big fan of him. He wasn't really a standout to me. I didn't hate the character, but he wasn't a standout. In this movie, I think they did a great job at the comedy. Still wasn't always 100. Something about that type of comedy kind of reminds me of Drax, like the over top. Yeah, woo! It's like,
I can see that.
I don't know if a human being would actually act like this, but okay. But where it really landed for me with David Harbour and just the character was the emotional scenes, him being a father to Yelena, and also the switch. Because don't get me wrong, there were funny moments that he did. Like I think a great scene was when Yelena shows up to his house, and it's funny. He's like cleaning things up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm loving my." He uses the clip, and then he's like, "I'm loving life. I'm exactly where I want to be."
Oh, by the way, Cabbage, true spoilers, by the way. But
spoiler. I would put it on thing, but she used, and he's like, "I'm exactly what I want to be. I wouldn't change a thing." And she's like, "I think I'm going to resign." And he's like, "Please ask her if I can join. And she's like, "I thought you were right where you want to be."
Right.
And he's like, "No, I hate my life." But yeah, I mean, like, so some of the comedy really landed for me with him. But then in that same exact scene where it's funny, within like 30 seconds, it becomes an emotional, super serious, grounded scene about her being alone and her being depressed, and him talking about the soccer team that she was on and how she always wanted to be the goalie. I thought that was a really good scene. She always wanted to be the goalie because she wanted to be the one they relied on when they messed up. Like, I thought that was a great scene, and that is, like, back to what I was saying before, that is something that we have not heard out of an MCU movie in 7 years. Just that line, and that was so early in the movie where I'm just like great writing, emotional. You can understand how a father would say that to a daughter. I'm already liking these characters more than I did in the entire Black Widow movie. It was one scene in the house, and it was a 4-minute scene between the soap, and it's funny, and him saying something, and then the emotional part, and that just shows like what you can do when you say, because Bob Iger came back and him and Kevin Feige reorganized the MCU, and they said 1 to 2 shows, 2 movies. We're downsizing everything. We're going back to what we were doing before. And it just shows when you don't have 9 scripts coming to you, when you don't have 5 different directors to produce, and when you don't have 3 or 4, post and pre-productions going on at the same time, you can really, really get the best of the best to do your writing and directing. And so it just showed. And I think that character was a big standout in this movie. I also really, really like, obviously what we just talked about her, but I really do like what they did with Yelena as well.
Mm-hmm.
With her emotional scenes, she was very much the main focus of the movie. A perfect way, in my opinion, to show actual female power, feminist, whatever you want to say. They did not wink at the camera. They did not talk about females being powerful. It was just, this is a great character. She's written great. She's a badass. Oh, and 100%. By the way, she's a female.
Right. No, yeah.
Yep.
I was just gonna say, like, I'll just reiterate the standouts in this film. Florence Pugh, obviously. Yeah. David Harbour, who's Red Guardian. So Red Guardian, Yelena. I took to Bob a lot.
And the Bob jokes.
Here's the thing, and I'm don't quote me. I need to do my research, but
yeah,
that do you know anything about that actor?
Oh, father's a popular actor.
His dad?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And it was supposed to be. I can't think of his name right now, but the guy Glenn from Walking Dead. He's also
Steven Yeun.
Yeah, that was supposed to be Sentry. He was supposed to be Sentry.
Really? What happened?
Yep.
Scheduling conflict.
Yep. It was literally the writer strikes that happened like 2 to 3 years ago. He was literally casted. Everything was good. Paperwork was done, and then the strikes pushed it back 6-7 months, and all of a sudden now we have conflicts, probably with Invincible, and then boom, he couldn't do it. I mean, but that is a good thing. That means Marvel's keeping his, like, Marvel has a relationship with him, and that means he might pop up in something else. But that was supposed to be him.
That I remember the headline of like Steven Yeun joins. I remember that. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
But anyway, no, the so you're saying the real life Bob is his dad's a real, like, a important
yeah.
I forget. I looked it up later, but so the actor who plays Bob, he was in Top Gun Maverick as also Bob.
Right. I saw
and
that.
I think his real life name is Bob or Robert. It's like
Louis. No, it's Louis Pullman, and his father.
Oh, Bill Pullman. That's Bill Pullman.
Is Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
So
and Bill Pullman was the president in Independence Day. That's
yeah.
Okay, I thought for some reason, I guess it was just the connection of like both characters were Bob,
and yeah.
So that
but
was,
even 100%. But sorry to cut you off. But I was gonna say, even the jokes. Again, like, it's one thing. Sometimes Marvel can do the comedy wrong in this, and just like, this is my opinion, obviously, about comedy itself. But there's one thing to have a comedy, and it's a goofy comedy. Oh, I'm watching Adam Sandler being a goof. Fine. But in a Marvel movie, or a movie you just want to sit down and actually take it serious, but also laugh, I don't like the, wink at the camera, or the goofy comedy, or the oops, I slipped on soap. I want the comedy that is not funny to the characters. Tony Stark being an asshole, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, like, or just, you know what I mean? Or just, and Guardians fell on that line sometimes. And that's why I think Guardians 2 and 3 are a little bit weaker than Guardians 1, because Guardians 1 didn't seem to do it as much.
I thought 3 was really good.
They're good. They're very good, but that's why I tend to see those weaker, because I tend to think they can get a little too goofy at certain times. Again, still great movies. But what I really liked about this movie is those situational comedies, those moments that are just funny. Like, for instance, there was a very early in the movie when they're in the fire chamber, what do you want to call it? they're talking, and he's like, like, who's this? He's like, my name's Bob. And then someone else is like, who the hell is this guy? And he's like, I'm Bob. And he says like 3 or 4 times, and then John Walker's like, Jesus Christ, stop saying Bob. It was just, for me, it was just so funny. The delivery was great. And like realistically, it's not supposed to be funny. He's not supposed to be saying something funny, but like it is funny to us.
Right.
Or even when there was a point where they were like, oh, it's the Winter Soldier, and he like shoots one kid, and they're like, yeah, and then he shoots their car, and they're like, oh no, it blows up. Like hilarious, it was so funny. Yeah. It was so funny. But yeah, I mean, all the characters from Ghost to Bucky to
was Ghost the woman who did the invisible?
Yeah, she was the villain.
I didn't think she stood out at all, really.
No, well, they didn't have her stand out at all, and we'll talk about some of that stuff later. And some of our weaknesses.
And where was she from? Because she was recognizable. Where was she from?
I
don't remember.
Villain, but not really villain. Kind of the version of the movie's Winter Soldier in Ant-Man and the Wasp. There was a real villain.
Yeah. Oh, was that? Oh, yeah.
Okay. There was a real villain, but they were trying to get something she was also trying to get, which was to make her not. Her character was going to essentially phase away and die, so she needed to get the same thing they did, and they were fighting over it. And at the end, they got it, and then they ended up helping her at the end.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute since. Okay,
yeah. So, but I love the theme.
Everyone stood out. Everyone except, in my opinion, Ghost stood out. Even, and I was surprised when I saw the end credit scene of was it Black Widow with Valentina? Was that the Black Widow end credit?
Yep.
So, because Julie Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld, she's in comedies. I'm like, okay, how are they really going to put her in here, and how are they going to deliver it?
Mm-hmm. And
the end credit scene of Black Widow did not convince me whatsoever. She surprised me here. She did fine, and it worked. She had dramatic scenes that pulled off. And especially with her younger years and stuff.
She was also in Falcon Winter Soldier as well.
Yes.
So they sprinkled her in a little bit here and there. Right. I wish. See, I felt like if this was the old MCU, this would have been the last movie of Phase 4 or something. It felt like we didn't get enough of her sprinkled out. I wish we kind of got her a little bit more. I wish she popped up in Hawkeye or something. I wish she popped up in other things. First, there could have been an after credit scene in Hawkeye where it's
I thought she might have in Hawkeye. Did she not show up? Not even for 5 minutes or something.
I don't think she did. No,
it's been a while. I don't remember. Yeah.
But even if there was an after credit scene in we only got one in Captain America. Even though there's another after credit scene with her again, and this time it's her recruiting Ghost. Just sprinkle her in a little bit more to get to where we need to be at. But I agree with you overall. I think the character was done well. I think it could have been done a little bit better, but good enough. Yeah. So I mean,
another thing that it's just funny with what I realized was all these cities that get destroyed, their taxes must be through the roof.
Well, it's just New York. I mean, New York, gosh, New York's gone through Incredible Hulk 1, the one after Iron Man.
Yep.
It's gone through Avengers 1.
Yep.
It's gone through, I mean, all 3 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. I thought Spider-Man was.
No, you're right.
Isn't Spider-Man supposed to be Chicago?
No, Spider-Man's in New York, but Spider-Man.
Is it still? Okay.
Yeah, but Spider-Man 2 was in Europe, remember? So really only 2 Spider-Man movies. Right. 2 of the Spider-Man movies. And really Spider-Man 1 wasn't even that bad because it was the plane crash. But everything else was kind of minor. And then this, I mean, yeah, it was crazy. At first I thought when he was doing the void thing, he was killing them. And I
I
was like,
thought so
whoa.
too. I
And
was
he
like,
did that
this
to
is.
that little
I was
girl.
like, this. I thought this was the Thanos, like similar to that. And
Right.
I
I
was
was like,
like,
oh
great. I
my
was like,
gosh.
we saved you, little one.
I was like,
I was like,
no, I think, well, I'm wondering what your view is on this. How did you like the third act, specifically the Void stuff?
oh, it was great.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I thought it was a very good depiction of the other side of you, in the sense of like, and I thought it really tied in together with Yelena going into it, facing it. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is good. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
was I was initially afraid that David Harbour was going to die because
Ooh.
like I thought he was going to sacrifice himself for his daughter,
Mm.
and because at that time I thought that the void killed you,
Right.
um, and so like, but like she went, and I'm like, so they're taking it this way, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was a good, just a good strong message of like facing your demons,
Mm-hmm.
facing like going into the void, and
Right.
and like challenging yourself, making yourself a better person, and go through each one. And that's another thing. I really, they did it so well. They did it well in the sense of they went through line, like scene by scene of their life, or like Elena's life and Bob's life, of things that traumatic experiences that they went through, and they tackled them together and went went through. I thought that was pretty well done, because you had to go through each one in order to get the light. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was
It kind of
well,
reminded me
well received.
a tad bit of WandaVision's, almost
Yes,
the finale, when she went through
yes,
phases of her life.
yes.
I will say I liked it. I will say I would have liked it more if it was a little bit more fast paced, and you
Mhm.
and you got every character. So made it a little bit faster paced, and then threw in a little bit of everyone else. See Ghost really quick, and it doesn't have to be like them completely, but it can just be a quick vision of Ghost seeing herself being tested on back when she was with Shield. It could be a quick vision of Bucky, on a mission. It can be a quick vision of Red Guardian being the Red Russian and killing somebody, and feeling bad for it, or that it could be almost a different version of that exact same scene we see at the beginning of Black Widow, where he sees his daughters getting taken from him and feeling bad about it. I wish we got more of that. John Walker you know after the events of him getting his butt kicked against Bucky
Right.
and Falcon at the time. I would have loved to see more of those characters, because, like you said, although we love everything with the Elena and a couple of those other characters, there was a lot of characters that kind of took the back seat.
Right.
Ghost being one of them, and it could just a couple of them being one of them. And I have a prediction of why I think that, and we'll go over that in a minute. But I wish I got a little bit more of that.
I think, and I think it would agree. They're definitely building up Yelena to be a very super strong character
Oh
already,
yeah,
and
oh yeah.
like replacing StarJo, because like StarJo was always just in the background of the movies. Like, she was never really important. Like, at the end of the day, like in the sense
Yeah.
in the sense of being on this high pedestal.
She was like the second tier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I could get that.
she would be a badass fighting. Like, no qualms about that. I'm just saying that like she was just never the lead until Black Widow, essentially.
Yeah, no, I get
And
you.
and so like obviously with Florence Pugh is like replacing like that thought of like, no more Black Widow, but now the sister will
Mm-hmm.
will win the day of like, I'm carrying on your image and your honor, and
She's she's the new Black Widow. Yeah.
but in a more front and center picture.
Yes, I agree. Now, Scarlett Johansson, I saw apparently was a co-producer of this movie.
Oh, that's great.
I might be wrong here, but I felt like I saw something on that. Because my prediction was maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I saw something. Yes, executive producer. She was an executive
Oh,
producer.
wow. I didn't even see that.
Because remember me and my friend Kian, who I went to go see this with, we had a couple predictions and
Sure.
who could pop up and who would die. And I said, I think Scarlett Johansson has something to do with producing this. And I was like, I can almost guarantee, which I was wrong. We're gonna get a flashback, a full, real, new flashback with Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow with Yelena that we never saw before.
That would have been cool.
They brought her on as executive producer as a handshake agreement of, hey, can we film you for a day to be with Yelena? You're going to be in this movie for 30 seconds, but you can also be an executive producer. You can have your name on it, whatever, however they even did it. It could have been her, you know, it could have been them just sending her a paycheck. Who knows? But
right.
I thought that was maybe going to happen, and it didn't. But yeah. So I mean, overall, me and you both really like this movie. I've already talked about slight negatives. Do you have any big negatives about this movie?
I thought the beginning of the movie could have been better. Like, it was more towards like the middle to the end is where it got really good.
Okay.
The beginning was slightly slow for me.
Really? Okay.
And yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I liked what I saw, especially with the beginning of like when she's in the beginning when she's narrating, she's like, yeah, I have nothing to live for, and you think she's literally gonna kill herself off the building, but then then use the
they did a
parachute.
good job at that.
But it just fits. It fits the theme of the whole movie, and I like how it like you can go back and be like, so that's what that means. Okay.
Yeah. No,
And
that's actually a great point. I didn't even think about that.
right, but I guess it's like between the end of that scene and when they all meet at the bunker place. I don't remember what it's called. The high security bunker place. I'm just going to bunker place. That's when it was slow. But other than that, it was great. It was like, again, like what you said with between phase 2 and phase 3 of Marvel, and I'm curious on what you think, and I don't know if we're going to be jumping or just around the whole movie here, but my immediate thought is, do you think Valentina? Order back.
Look at that.
Do you think Valentina, was that all of that planned, where they make Thunderbolts the hero, or was it just heroes, or do you think it was just by situational circumstance?
I think it was Valentina, because remember, she didn't even know this guy was alive. So I think it was her I think originally she did want to get rid of the evidence, which was them, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
They got away. She realized that Sentry's alive. She tried to make him into the ultimate superhero.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped him. And like you said, once they stopped him, she's like, oh, these are the same people that I had working for me. And then she took a situation. She was good at adapting. She adapted to the situation to always make it so she looked like she was the one that was in control. And I think that's a great character quality of her. You know, and she's, I guess, manipulating them.
So situational. You're on the situational side of things.
I think it's a situational thing because I think in the end she had no idea that Sentry was going to do that. You know, right. So yeah, I mean, and I would say, going back to my negatives real quick, I really don't have a crazy negative. You know, I wasn't a big fan of the fight scene that was in the tower. It was a little too CGI-ish, and it just kind of didn't feel like the rest of the movie. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it just didn't feel like the rest of the movie. Again, I think the Void part could have been, to me, done a little bit better in the sense I wish I got to see a little bit more of the other characters.
Sure.
But overall, man, the chemistry was great between the characters. Majority, if not all, the fight sequences were done well. A lot of good comedy, a lot of good heart. There was nothing that took me out of the movie in the sense of, man, this is a big negative. There's things I wish were done better, or maybe I think I could have enjoyed better. But overall, I mean, I don't think it's the top tier of the MCU, but for me, but I think it's like right underneath. I mean, it's in the top 10. Like for me, like pretty easily. There's apparently 30, I think they said 36 or 37 MCU movies.
Jeez.
And that's not counting any of the shows. And that's not counting like, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. That's talking like MCU.
Oh yeah.
36. So I mean, this is definitely in the top. I would even say it's the top 7, 8 for me. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good.